Hey, what's up guys? Jaden here. So in this tutorial, I'll be walking you through how to do on-page optimization. So there's a few things that you need to know first. So what is on-page optimization? A very quick, kind of definition is basically whatever that you see on a website, and you're basically trying to optimize this particular page itself, right? So there are multiple things that you can optimize. You can change the content, you can change the page titles, you can change the descriptions, you can change the header text, right? The words, essentially anything that you can change on this particular page, that is, what's considered, on-page optimization. Optimizing things that is on this particular page, right? So that is just a quick definition. So I just want to bring you through the most important things with regards to the on-page optimization, what you can do. And also, I think this is the most important element when it comes to on-page. So it's going to be a really, it's not going to be like a long series within the on-page optimization things, the number of things that you can do. But this one, just doing these things will help you, improve your on-page performance. So let's get straight into it. So there's a few things that you need. Okay, first things first, it's, as usual, I've got my Google Sheet open. You don't need to have like, fancy templates. You can if you want to build those out, but you technically only need a few things. The first thing that you need, it's obviously the page that you're optimizing for. So for example, this is the example page. You also need to have your primary keyword. So primary keyword meaning to say what's the most important keyword. That keyword is the main keyword that you're trying to rank for that particular page. So this can be done during your keyword research phase, or either for your existing pages, or you guys are planning out for a new website. So ideally, primary keyword should only be one, right? And then you all want to have like secondary keywords. So which means to say, things that you want to rank additionally for on that particular page, right? So you need to have your primary keyword, and you also need to have your secondary keywords. Okay, so essentially how you do this is there's a few ways that you can think about doing this. So first things first is I'm going to walk you through one by one, but first things first is you need to have all of this ready. Okay, so a few things. One of the things that you always need to consider is mapping the intent of the keyword to your page title, to your page's content. Okay, so what do I mean? So if this is the page, if this is my primary keyword, the one thing that you can do is you can go on to Google, type in your primary keyword, and just basically see what is showing up on the search engine results page. This will tell you what the user's intention are. So this gives you a rough gauge of when people are typing in this keyword, what are they looking for, right? So this kind of gives you a rough idea. It's not necessarily 100%, but it tells you a rough idea of what users are searching for. What do they want, right? So right off from the get-go, when I type in Zumba classes in Singapore, you can see there's a lot of paid ads here, a lot of sponsored ads here. So immediately this is telling you that there is commercial intent here, right? Because if not, brands will not be bidding for this. So it's really telling me that, okay, there's some kind of commercial intent here. And then if you look downwards, you can see, you start to analyze like what is showing up, because Google always prefers showing users exactly what they are looking for. And so a lot of times the answers are already on Google's first page. So you can see Zumba dance and workout classes, 10 best. So this is kind of like a list of the 10 best Zumba classes, and then this is just straight out offering Zumba classes, right? And then if you see here, this is a local map pack. And then if you go down here, best Zumba dance studios, Zumba fitness. So you can see majority of this are actually, studios offering Zumba lessons, right? So this is already an indication to me that the page title I should be creating should be catered to something related to, what the users want when they are searching for a class, right? So, so they might be looking for, flexible, they might be looking for trial classes, they might be looking for, let's see, they might be looking for online classes, maybe towards that kind of intent. It seems like they are looking towards that kind of intention, right? So the things that I will not be doing definitely will not be like, how to find a free Zumba class, for example, right? Or how to how to start Zumba, or why it's Zumba, like informational type content related to Zumba that will be immediately out of my page title, right? So the first things first, you need to understand what is the intention of users when they are typing in this keyword, okay? Because the last thing you want to do is you don't want to craft a page title that is not what the users want, right? So in this case, like 10 best Zumba classes you can find in Singapore. So this is, from what I'm seeing, majority of these is showing up, are individual brands showing up for their own programs, and only one of them is kind of like a consolidation. So I would go with something along the lines of like offering, this particular as compared to, just typing out like the 10 best Zumba classes, right? So once you have identified that intention, then you want to have a page title that matches that intention. And also at the same time, you need to make sure that your page content, the narrative of the content, matches that intention as well. Okay, and what do I mean by this? So let's say, for example, this is the intention, right? So we already know that the intention is very commercialized, right? And think of now, if let's say you want to look for, if you're typing in, Zumba classes, think of what you might be looking for, right? You want to look for something that is maybe flexible, like I mentioned earlier, that is, there is a trial available for a class. Maybe you want to do it online, or maybe you want it to be fun, or things like that, right? And when you type in this keyword, you want to ideally be led to a page that understands what you're looking for, right? So in this case, like for example, if you open up this, a lot of these classes, it's directly matches what I'm looking for, right? So what do I mean by matching your page title and your, whatever that you have researched to the page's content? It's because if let's say you were to optimize your page for this keyword, and then you map it to a page. So for example, if I'm optimizing for this page, this is perfectly fine, right? But if I'm mapping it to, let's say, for example, a blog post about the benefits of Zumba, right? Even though I can map the particular page to this keyword, it will not do well. And the reason why is because, when people type in Zumba classes Singapore, they are looking for Zumba classes. In this case, it's a very straightforward intent that you clearly can tell when people type in Zumba classes in Singapore, they are looking for Zumba class, right? And for example, if we were to rank a blog post, so imagine this is a blog post about the benefits of Zumba, right? And if we were to map this page to Zumba classes in Singapore, even if this page were to be doing well, right? Let's say, for example, if we optimize this page and, we did all the optimization we can, and the best case scenario, if it lands on page 1, what's going to happen is when people click on, when people search for Zumba classes, and when they click on our result that is ranking, and they get served a page about the information about, Zumba classes and the benefits of Zumba classes, it may not be what they want. And based off on what we are seeing here, right, it's most likely not what they are looking for. They already know the benefits of Zumba classes. That's why they are looking for Zumba classes, right? And what happens is, if you don't get your page's content in line with what the searchers want, then even if let's say this page is doing well in Google for like the top 3, right? It's ranking in the top 3 or top 5. Eventually, over time, it's not going to perform that well. And the reason why is because it doesn't match the searcher's intent. So when people search for this and they click on your page and they get served a informational content about benefits of Zumba, they're going to click back because it's not what they are looking for. And all these signals plays a part. And essentially Google is collecting all these signals, right? Because all these is telling Google whether this page matches what the users want. And if it doesn't, if a lot of those signals build up, then, obviously Google will not put your page up higher, So you just want to make sure that all these aligns. You want to make sure that you know what the searcher's intention is when you're typing in the keyword. You want to make sure that your page title is aligned with that keyword. And you want to make sure that the content that you have on that page matches to what the users want. So all these needs to be aligned, because a lot of times, I've seen a lot of cases where, this is the keyword that we are searching, we are looking for. And then when we see the intention of that keyword versus the page that is actually being mapped to, it's not aligned, and it's a struggle, like you're climbing up a hill, right? So you don't want to do that. So just make sure all these are aligned. Okay. So once you have that down, right, then you can go ahead and start optimizing. So I'm going to share with you just two main things that you can do. So the first thing is page title. Okay. You want to optimize your page titles. And the second thing is your meta description. Okay, just two things, okay, for your on page. And the reason why is because these two, the page titles and description is one of the easiest that you can optimize. It's also the most easy to do, and also like it's also page titles is one of the things that has quite a number of weightage when it comes to on page optimization. So just focusing on this two, right? So page titles, how do you do page titles? So what I want to introduce you to this tool. All you have to do is just go to page title checker. Okay, essentially you can use any. I prefer to use this. Just got to the tool. And basically what you can see is an example of how your page title will look like on desktop and mobile, and also your description, how your description will look like. Okay, so I only use this tool. Mainly what you want to do for page titles is you want to keep your page title between 30 to 60 characters. Okay, so one letter is one character. So for example, if I am, typing this, and you can use a word counter for this as well. But let's say, for example, this page titles, this is 11 characters. Right, so you want to keep your page titles between 30 to 60 characters. And the reason why you want to do this is to make sure that your page titles doesn't get truncated. And so truncated is just a fancy form of cutoff. So you can see, let's see whether if there's an example here. So there's no examples here of page titles being truncated. So you can see over here, this ... over here. What else? Let's see. This ... for example, right? This ... So this is a case of, your page title is being truncated, and you don't want it to be like that, because you want your page title to show, users exactly what they are clicking into, right? So make sure that it's between 30 to 60 characters. Okay. So once you have, just make sure that it's between 30 to 60 characters. Okay. This will give you like a good range to make sure that, your page titles are not being truncated. And then for page titles, what you need to do is understand a few things. You need to make sure that your main keyword is in your page title. Okay, your main keyword that you're trying to rank should be in this page title. And as much as you can, you want to have variations of your secondary keywords in here. Okay, so it's not a, if you want to have a page title that really converts and also have a high click-through rate, you need to have all this in mind. So I'm going to do this live with you also because it's not very straightforward. Because if you want to come out with page titles that really do well, it's not going to be that straightforward in a sense. So I'm going to do this together with you. So let's take a look at this. So the main keyword currently is Zumba classes in Singapore, right? So this is the main keyword. And then one thing that you can do is you can take a look at some of your competitors to see kind of, how they are structuring their page titles. And you don't want to copy them word for word. You just want to make sure that you are bringing out elements within there that you like as a user, and you want to incorporate that within your page titles, similar with your meta description, right? So now, for example, let me go over to some example. And you can take inspirations from like even the paid ones as well, right? From the paid results here. But I'm gonna check 1, maybe 2, and 3. Okay. And so what you do is you do a little bit of research. So if you have a Chrome extension, which I think you definitely should if you are doing SEO, it just saves a lot of time, is you can look at this page title here. Okay, so look at this page title, and what I like to do, I like to copy it down, and usually I open it in a notepad, but since I have this here, I'm just gonna write it down. Okay, and then I'm gonna open up this. Okay, and open up this. And I'm gonna just do a little bit of research. Okay, and usually it's pretty fast, it's pretty quick. And then I analyze the page title. So looking at this, Zumba dance. So I definitely need to have Zumba classes. And one rule is you always want to make sure that your page titles are, you want to front load your page titles as, sorry, not your page title, but your primary keyword as much as possible, right? So that's just a habit, and that's just a practice of mine. So I find that, most of the time, if your primary keyword is usually at the front, it usually does a little bit better. But that's not always 100% the case, because with Google's algorithm, there's never a set rule that it should be like that. But it's just based off of my preference. But as long as you have your primary keyword within here, it should be good to go. So I like to front load all my primary keywords. So in this case, I definitely know that Zumba classes and Singapore needs to be in the front. And depending on the keyword, I like to always make sure that the primary keyword it makes grammatically it's readable, right? So for example, Zumba classes Singapore, this is not really a proper sentence structure. So like for example, Zumba classes in Singapore would make more sense, or Singapore Zumba classes, right? So that's how I like to make sure that the keywords are readable for the users. So I also like to capitalize them, and then let's just see. And this is not the final keyword. Yeah, we're just trying to pin everything together. Okay, so Zumba classes in Singapore. So let's see, Zumba dance and workout classes. Okay, so 10 best Zumba classes you can find that can really sweat it out. Okay, best Zumba dance studios. Okay, so it's not, there isn't any really impactful out of the ordinary like copy that I'm seeing here. So Zumba classes in Singapore, this is really okay enough. So I can just put this as the front of my page title, right? Because I'm not seeing anything that is very out of the ordinary. Like all these are pretty average page titles, right? And then now I want to take a look at some of the secondary keywords. So secondary keywords I have here: Zumba fitness Singapore, best Zumba class. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to pick up certain variations that can be used within my page titles, and I don't want to be repeating secondary keywords. So for example, this is the wrong way of doing it. So let's say this is the secondary keyword, and then you just include this here as a secondary keyword, right? Because this is duplicated, right? So I just want to pick out variations of the secondary keywords I can use within here, just so the page title is consists of the secondary keyword, right? It's just that it's in a different arrangement. So for example, okay, Zumba class in Singapore, I see fitness and I see best. Okay, so what I can do is I can do something like best fitness or best for fitness, right? For example, okay, I can do this, best for fitness, and let's see, best for fitness. Okay, and then let's see, they have all the brand names here. I generally, it depends on whether do I want to have this here. You can have it included in here. or you don't need to have it, is generally fine. So this falls into another situation where if, let's say, you need to localize your individual pages, then having a page title with the brand, it's okay, right? But for me, I generally like to make the best use of my page titles and save it for keywords, unless I don't have any more keywords that I can include. Then I will include the brand in here. So in this case, for example, I have my secondary keyword and primary keyword in here, the best for fitness, right? And then now what you need to do, I like to just go in and copy and see whether this is, if it's, how many characters are there? 45, right? So 45, this is still okay, right? And then once you have this, once you have your first copy of your page title down, you want to make sure that you're adding in something that is more click-worthy, right? In a sense where you can add in certain stuff like modifiers or just changing the arrangements a little bit. Okay, so let me show you how do I do it. So you can see over here, Zumba classes in Singapore, best for fitness, right? And it matches the searcher's intent because, people who are searching for Zumba classes, we want to show that this page is about Zumba classes, right? And we also have like the best, this is best for fitness, right? So we want to let them know, because they are obviously looking for something fitness related, right? They want to, in this case, they want to sweat it out, and it also makes sense because people want to use Zumba as a form of fitness, right? Also, at the same time, there's a few things that you can do. First thing is you can try to add in a modifier. So what do I mean by a modifier? You just want to have a certain variation, okay? So this is a variation, right? Or you can have it like that. Best for fitness, right? This is another variation. You can use a column. You can also have, depending on the page titles you have, there's a lot of ways that you can play around with this, right? You can have it something like this, or you can even have it something like this, for example, right? And there's so many ways that you can play with. You can have it like just your simple, dash. You can have it, like I mentioned, like this, or you can even be like this, right? But this makes it stands out, right? It breaks your eye pattern. When you're scrolling through, this breaks your eye pattern, right? So, yeah. And what you can do is you can use modifiers like this, okay? Second of all, you can try to include power words. So if you're not sure what power words are, just Google it. But basically, power words are things that that it's used to bring out a certain emotion, kind of, right? So for example, some power words that you can use, it's, let's see, now, right? Amazing, sensational, remarkable, or best, for example, free, for example, right? So in this case, for example, what I can do is I can change it to something like best for fitness, right? Or I can choose maybe, like that. Okay, free trial. If I do have a free trial, in this case, it's too much, I feel. So, but if you want, you can do something like best for fitness, right? Or you can have it like free trial. Okay, you want to have the word free in there. Okay, like that, right? It's also fine. And let's see how many words is there. This is 58 characters, so it's fine, right? But you can see free is in there, best is in there, right? And then this is how you could come up with your page title. But for page titles, just remember, everything about with SEO, everything is about testing, right? And that's why it's called optimization and not perfection. And the reason why it's called optimization is because every single time when you implement something, it may work, it may not work. It's all about probability. And with that, you want to have a page title, brainstorm a little bit about page titles. And then once you decide on your page title, you just want to publish it and see how it performs from there. If everything is going up, then that means to say something is working. And if something is stagnant or if it's not doing well, like it's decreasing in performance, then you have to go in there and then basically do your analysis again and then see where you're not getting it right, and then you just want to change it, right? So that is how you come up with page titles. You always want to make sure that you're checking it, right, to ensure that it's not being truncated and it has all the elements in here. It matches what the searchers are looking for. It has your primary keyword and also your secondary keyword as much as you can. And also you want to have it be click-worthy. You want people to click through it. Okay, but obviously if you are not offering anything, again, it needs to match the page, right? So if the page is not offering any kind of free trial, then you don't want to have free trial in here, obviously, right? Because then it's not going to give users what they want. They're going to click out, and all these are signals to Google, right? So that is how you come up with a page title. Meta description is kind of the same thing, where the character count is just slightly different. Meta description, you want to keep your meta description. I like to keep it between below 155 characters. So as long as it's below 155 characters, that's perfectly fine. Okay, and it needs to have the few elements that I mentioned, right? You don't necessarily have to have your primary keyword and your secondary keywords within there. But if you're writing your description, it naturally will have it. Some form of variations will be in there, but you don't need to have it in there because meta description is not really part of a ranking factor as what Google has mentioned. But this may change. It may not change, but naturally when you're writing your meta description, the main purpose of writing your meta description is to give users a reason to click through to your supporting reasons to click through to your results, right? So naturally, you're going to have some kind of variations here. So for example, right, in this case, this is, let's say this is my page title, right? This is my page title. And then my description can be, okay, one more additional thing. You can also take a look at what your competitors are typing in, and you just want to see whether if there is any things that any copy that you can use, right? So I'm just gonna write it down for inspirational cases. They don't really have a description, right? So in this case, I only have this to work with. So offer Zumba classes that works your hips with core-based movement. Right, groove on with signature Latin beats. Okay, this meta description is way too long. All right, so head to your nearest branch for a free trial today. Okay, so what you have to do is within your meta description, you always want to have a call to action. So a call to action can be like, sign up now, learn more today, click here to find out more, learn more here, things like that. Right, so let's say I want to have my call to action as, sign up for a free trial. Sign up for a free trial today. Or now, right? Okay. I want them to sign up for a free trial now, right? Or today. Okay. So this is my call to action, right? And then in the front, I want to craft a meta description. So you need to think about what are the benefits. You want to kind of include your benefits within there, catering to what the searchers are looking for. So in this case, like, it seems like when people are searching for Zumba classes, I've never taken a Zumba class in my life before, but you can see like what people want to do. They want to sweat it up, right? They want to move, right? Seems like they are more towards like dancing kind of workout, right? So what about dancing? Dancing is fun, dancing dancing as a way to work out. And you can see here, I'm doing it live because I've not prepared to do this in advance, just to show you how you should actually think about this. So fitness first offers. So in this case, what's my brand? My brand is Pure Fitness, right? So benefit will be Zumba classes. Zumba classes, let's see. That sweats it out. Oh, okay. Groove to let's see, groove to music, and or you know what, I can even do, okay, let's see. All right, so I did a little bit of brainstorm and came up with 2 examples, right? So the first one is, Zumba classes that makes you groove and keep fit, right? So kind of a little bit of benefits within here, makes you groove because it makes sense for Zumba classes, and I've taken inspiration from like here and here, right? And also at the same time keep fit, because that is what people want when they're searching for Zumba classes, right? They want to keep fit. And also here is just basically front loading the benefits. So sweat while having fun with our Zumba class, right? And then you also want to have your call to action here, okay? And essentially this is a really simple way to do your meta description. So you can see if I were to include it in here, it looks very nice. Like everything is it's not truncated, everything is fine. And it's also below, and it's also below the word count, right? 78. So this is fine. So this is how you can come up with your meta description. And again, there's no right or wrong here. You just have to basically make your best guess and then change the page titles and description. And so this will help you at least get your page at a level where it matches everything with searcher's intention, with your page titles and the page's content, right? So think about all of this when you are doing a description, when you're coming up with page titles or description. Like I mentioned, it's not a thing where you set it and done with. You still need to monitor it to see on a month-to-month basis if it's performing well, or if it's like stagnant for a few months, then you need to go in and really look into it. And some of the times, even after it has been doing well for 3 or 6 months, and then some of the times because of what users want, or because of how things have changed, it may not work as well. So it's always a consistent effort of making sure that you're tracking and you're analyzing whether have things drop, have things change, and then make the optimization necessary, right? So that's all for page titles. Hope you like this one. And that's all. So leave any things that you're unsure of in the comments, and I'll answer them one by one. Cheers.